Today I'm going over the best electronic drum sets for $1,500 all the way up through $1,800. That's coming up. What's up guys, Justin Greenwald here, welcome to 65 Drums. This is the place to keep on top of all things e-drum related, so consider subscribing if you haven't yet. We're on our way guys. This is like an awkward middle zone. There's a bunch of different drum sets on this list that are just overpriced for the features that they have, but just be patient. A little bit farther down this list and then the drum sets to come in different videos, that's where the really good stuff starts to happen. Somewhere around $1,800 and up. So let's get started with the first one on this list. It's the Yamaha DTX542K. Yamaha's amazing at naming drum sets, aren't they? So let me explain the whole naming system of Yamaha drum sets quickly because they all sound really similar. 542, 522K, 5... It sounds really complicated, but there's actually a method to all this. The first number in the drum set numbering system is the kind of drum module that is powering the drum set. So the 400 series, those are all the base level drum sets. The 500 series are the ones that I'm talking about right now. They've got that 502 drum module. Yamaha drum sets that start with the number 7 are using the 700 series drum module, and then the 900 series are their top level tier electronic drum sets. Back to the Yamaha DTX542K. In the 500 series of drum sets, this is the second tier. So the first tier is $800, it's the 522K. And this one is an extra $700. What are you getting for all that extra money? So for that extra $700, all you're getting is a bunch of Yamaha DTX silicone toms. That's it. As far as the drum module goes, still a solid 502 drum module. You can import samples via Dropbox over your phone or via USB. There's a bunch of apps that let you control the drum module with your phone or your iPad or whatever. There's a lot of great apps for these Yamaha drum sets. You can layer sounds. It's a really powerful drum module for the price it sells at. I love the fact that all the cymbals are 3-zone. That means even the hi-hat has a bell sound, which is nuts. Also, Yamaha is famous for their pre-choke feature, which is when you grab onto the cymbal, you choke the cymbal, and then when you hit it with your stick, then it makes that muted sound as if you were holding an acoustic cymbal and playing on it at the same time. I feel like it's not really a useful feature, but it's cool that it has it, and I'll take it. One big limitation that I do not understand is the fact that all the toms are single zone. For $1,500, that's gotta be a feature that is on this drum set, but it's not there. So overall, this drum set is incredibly overpriced. You can buy its little brother, the 522K, and it's exactly the same. It just doesn't have the Yamaha DTX silicone tom pads. And so if you're willing to give that up, you can save $700. Keep that in the back of your mind. I wish this thing came on a dedicated hi-hat stand, but it's just mounted to the rack itself. So that's another limitation that I don't like about this drum set. And just the pads are small overall. But this drum set does have a lot of strengths, like I was saying, and if you find a really good deal on it, it's a decent drum set. Let's move on to the next drum set on this list. It's the Roland TD11 KB. This is the cheapest Roland drum set that comes with all mesh toms. Actually, well, technically the TD11KPX comes with all mesh toms, but not many places sell it. It's like a really obscure drum set. This is the first proper electronic drum set from Roland in their current lineup that has the all mesh pad setup. One thing I do not like about the drum set is that it's a little bit misleading. When you go look at music websites, they tell you that you've got a 10-inch snare and then you've got 8-inch toms, which is only kind of true. The toms are actually 6.5 inches across. That's how big the mesh head is. And then there's an inner plastic rim around that, and then the rubber rim that goes around that. So that adds all these inches to it. Now it's 8 inches across. That means those tom pads are smaller technically than the rubber pads that they're an upgrade over. And then of course that means the snare is actually an 8-inch snare. I still really like the fact that it's all mesh pads. I really do like that. I also like the sounds if you dial them in. If you just play out of the box, it's not a good sounding drum module. You got to do some editing to really bring it to life, or pay a website like vexpressions.com to sell you an editing pack where they do the editing for you. This thing can do some digital drum modeling inside of the module, but unfortunately you can't import samples. There's no cool app that lets you control the drum module from your phone. There's some Roland apps for like fun and recording and stuff, but nothing that lets you control the module itself. And you can't layer any sounds either. So technically this thing is less powerful than the DTX502 drum module in certain ways. I do have to say about Roland drum sets, they last a while and they have good resale value. So that's something in favor of this drum set. Same thing can be said for that Yamaha drum set as well. So just keep that in the back of your mind while you're shopping. If you hate this drum set, you can always sell it on Craigslist or eBay and get a bunch of your money back. And speaking of Craigslist and eBay, don't buy this for its sticker price. 1,600 bucks is way too high for what's being offered right here. If you look around on Craigslist and eBay, you can find this thing for about 1,100 bucks maybe, and that's a better deal. And sometimes you'll find guys that will throw in an amp and maybe a drum throne or a pair of sticks. Okay, let's move on to the next drum set on this list that has been very highly anticipated for like a year and a half straight, and now it's finally out. People are finally getting this in their hands. It's the Alesis Strike. But most of the people that have bought this drum set already and that have been releasing like videos of them talking about it, or people that are talking about the Alesis Strike on like Facebook groups, those guys usually buy the Pro version, which gives you an extra 2 cymbals, a bigger rack, and an extra floor tom. And it's really not that much more than this base model. But this is an amazing value for your money. Just an FYI, take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt, because I have not played the drum set and I do not own the drum set either. This is a completely new drum set by Alesis. They aren't recycling all kinds of pads that they've been juggling for the past several years. This is a completely brand new thing. They're using new cymbals, they're using new tom pads, they're using a new drum module. I believe they're using a new rack as well. I'm in a Facebook group of people that own the Alesis Strike, and I've also been watching the demos and looking at what people have been saying about this drum set. And these are the things I've gathered about it. Number one, it looks amazing. I gotta get that out of the way. I gotta say it, it's important. You want a nice looking electronic drum set. It has fusion sized electronic drum shells, actual drum shells, not like a tiny little wafer of a pad. These are real drum shells. They're really nice. Sparkle red finish. They all have little sensitivity knobs on the sides, which is nice. You don't have to dig around the menus if you don't want to. The cymbal pads use a really thick rubber, and they have like this dimpled look to them, sort of like the Yamaha, where it looks like someone's been hand hammering a piece of rubber. These drums are finally a decent size. You've got an 8-inch tom, a 10-inch tom, a 12-inch floor tom, and a 14-inch snare. And then some very nicely sized cymbals as well. And of course you got that chrome drum rack and the Alesis Strike drum module. I will say that early adopter Alesis Strike owners have had a rocky road with their drum sets, because Alesis had to put out a patch, and they're probably gonna have to put out another one to fix some triggering issues. There was some ghosting when you'd hit one pad and another one would trigger mysteriously, or the hi-hat. Some people were having trouble trying to get the hi-hat to be as responsive as they wanted it to be. I even saw a guy that hooked up his Roland TD20 drum module to an Alesis Strike drum set, and it just triggered flawlessly. So obviously this is a software issue, but thankfully, since it's a software issue, that means Alesis is gonna continually address it with software patches as we go forward. It's too early to really judge this drum set, but the people that have bought it already say they do like it, even though they're the ones that are taking the brunt of the early adopter thing and they're working out the issues as they go along. They're still saying it's a great value for your money, and thankfully, you've got large shell sizes mixed with decent sounds, a lot of inputs, a lot of outputs. You get faders for individual instruments. I don't know what I would do if my drum module didn't have individual faders for like the kick, snare, cymbals, and stuff like that. It's just a really nice feature. And as you've noticed, none of the other drum modules on this list, even though they're only a few $100 behind the price of this drum set, none of them had individual faders. The sounds aren't on par with the Alesis Strike drum set, and the shells are like incredibly tiny miniature toys compared to this Alesis Strike drum set. You might have to do some fiddling with the drum module. It's not gonna be like a plug and play situation yet. Maybe in the future as Alesis addresses different triggering issues and stuff. So the next drum set on this list is the DTX562K. I believe this is the final tier of the 500 series line of drum sets. Basically, it's only got 2 upgrades. You got a better crash cymbal, and you got a better hi-hat cymbal. The hi-hat cymbal is now on a dedicated hi-hat stand. And depending on where you buy this drum set, you might get the hardware included, and other stores, they don't include the hardware. So do your research if you're thinking about buying this particular drum set. 1,800 bucks. That is not a good deal, guys. Especially when you compare it against something like the Alesis Strike, they're asking too much. The drum module isn't upgraded, The toms aren't upgraded, the snare wasn't upgraded, the kick pad wasn't upgraded, the ride cymbal wasn't upgraded. All that was upgraded for that extra money was a better hi-hat pad and a better crash cymbal. Find it used. Please do not buy this thing brand new. One last drum set I want to talk about is not really a drum set. I wanted to give it a shout out. It's the Infused Inspire conversion package. So this is $1,500. And if you go buy like a cheap acoustic drum set, you can buy one for like $200 somewhere or $300. So this conversion package comes with a crash cymbal, a ride cymbal, a hi-hat pad, and then pads that you put over top your acoustic drums. The cool thing about this conversion package is that you don't have to take off your drum heads. You just lay this over top of them. They float on the rims. It also comes with the kick drum pad, which again sits on top of your acoustic kick drum. And then, of course, you got the drum module that comes with it. So this is a complete package. You don't have to go buy anything else. Everything is here, which is why I wanted to add it to this list, because all you need is shells, like drum shells of some kind, and you're ready to go. And the drum module is pretty powerful. It's actually running a light version of BFD. And I didn't really do any editing. The deep editing doesn't happen on the drum module. You actually do the editing on a laptop. You take this little thumb drive that's included, you plug it into your laptop, and then you do all these deep sound editing stuff, a light version of a VST. After you do that editing, you put the thumb drive back into the drum module, blah, blah, blah. I haven't played after I've done editing myself. I've just played, sounds that have already been pre-edited. And the drum module's not that expensive. You can buy it right now for like $800 separately. I don't know what pads it would work with, but you can buy it separately if you want to. Even though I'm adding this onto the list as a shout out, I don't necessarily recommend it unless you find a really good deal. If you found this whole system for like $1,000, maybe jump for it. The things I just don't like about it are the fact that the pads are kind of boring to play, but this is definitely a conversion option. The great thing is that you don't have to like take off any of the rims or anything. You just lay this on top of your acoustic drums, and it's really, really easy and quick to set up, except for all the wires, because everyone hates wires. So let me give you a quick summary of this list before I go. The DTX542 and the TD11 KV, they're kind of equal to each other, but the problem is they're still not offering enough for the price that you're paying. You might as well save up a little bit more money and buy something that's better. That's just what I think. There have been plenty of people that bought a TD11KV brand new and it was right for them. Just for me, it doesn't have the level of features I need for a price like that. So if you do buy the DTX542K or the TD11KV, buy it at a good deal. If you are patient and you wait, you can find deals like that. Or you can just wait and save up your money and buy the drum set I recommend on this list, which is the Alesis Strike. It's got huge drum sizes. Sitting behind a legit looking piece of equipment like the Alesis Strike does give you a little bit of confidence, and it has a stage presence some of the other drum sets on this list just don't have. And of course, the drum sounds are better than the DTX 500 series drum module and the TD11 drum module. And it's a more powerful drum module. Or if you want to buy something in the $1,500 price range, pick up something like a DTX542K. Again, that's just a suggestion. Everyone's looking for different things when they're buying an e-drum set. Like, I used to think there was only one right drum set for every single price point. But as I've done a lot of research and I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of different drummers, and I learned something pretty quickly. There's no perfect drum set for every single person at each individual price. Everyone's looking for a different thing in the drum set that they're searching for. So what might be right for you might not be right for someone else that's looking for a drum set in the exact same price bracket. So take this whole video just as a bit of a research tool to help you find the best drum set for you. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a Cavs shirt tonight, it's because the Cavs absolutely slaughtered the Celtics tonight. 130 points, absolutely destroyed the Celtics, and I'm just slightly happy about that. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in a few.